friends, when you seem to be the only actor in a given field, sometimes you seem to overrate yourself. When you don't seem to have competition around you and you are operating in a seemingly open space, and you have now point of reference to benchmark upon, you can risk losing direction and creating assumptions that are not necessarily correct. I read the Bible. I love the Old Testament, and one of the mighty prophets in the Old Testament is Elijah. And Elijah, we know how much he was tormented by a wicked queen called Jezebel. And this woman was on his case. And, she caused a lot of havoc in Israel and influenced her husband, the king, to really misbehave. It's really annoying to see her taking Naboth's little piece of land. Very, very hurting when we read that. And how she generally behaves. She really behaves badly. Until when we see her now fall down and she bursts, and the dogs come licking her blood, we say, yes, it's like a great movie where the villain is slain, and the main character, who is a good, the good person, is victorious. You feel, wow. I watched a movie called The Punisher, and in The Punisher, a lot of things happen, and in the end, we have this good guy winning. And so when we go through the story of Jezebel, we kind of like feel that way when she finally dies. So she torments this prophet and follows him up, wanting to kill him and stuff. But through that, God still uses him to perform miracles. And Elijah performed a total of 7 miracles. And finally, we see the rain coming down. And he gets so tired and he falls down and asks God to die. Can you imagine? He tells God, kill me, God, let me die, because of this woman. She has killed every prophet in Israel, and I'm the only one remaining. And she's looking for me to finish me. So kill me before she even does. I want to rest. And that is what I'm talking about. Being a lone prayer, because we had prophets in Israel, but they were not active players. They were not being heard. They were not operating at that level Elijah operated at. And so nobody who was human ever knew that these people were there. And mark you, they were not 10 or 20 or 1,000, but they were 7,000. Those who never worshipped Baal and Asherah, the goddess. Those who kept themselves upright before the Lord. And it was never known to a human being that they were there. But God in heaven knew who they were, knew their names, and he was proud of them. And he knew they were his prophets who would never be compromised, and he was proud of them. And here is Elijah doing things, and because he seems to be alone, he begins to think he's alone, and so he feels a little nice, before God. And God rebukes him and tells him, no, eat, because he had refused to eat. Wake up and eat, because you have 40 days to walk and come meet me, so that I can tell you a few things. And so, as an actor, who seems to be alone, because, we go somewhere and we help somebody, and after we leave, they remain there. So it seems as though we are the only ones doing it. So a hater made a comment and said, this guy is using these people because there is nobody else who tries out something. And I was asking myself, but why can't those who hate me organize a team that will do at least something differently? I would really honestly appreciate, but they never reached that level of beginning, a parallel team that would work and complement our efforts or compete with us. And so the danger I am in is that I seem to be doing it maybe almost seemingly, if you're not very careful, alone. But the truth is that God has people who are not known, who cannot make a video, who cannot speak English, who don't have a TV or a laptop or a cell phone. And they're down there silently doing the will of God. And so I pray that God will not even reveal these people to me, because it's not given that I know them. I'm not supposed to even know them, because they're not part of my journey. Like the 7,000 were not known to Elijah because they were not part of his route, his destiny, and they operated independently according to the provision and the power of God in their capacities, in their little locations, worshiping the true and living God, whose name is Jehovah. And they were not known to this mighty prophet of God. And so I pray that I will just keep on doing what I'm doing, but also with an understanding that I'm not alone, that God has raised men and women here in Africa to complement this work. We had a sponsor who, developed these wings and thought, if when I leave, you're going to collapse. And a very proud woman who felt that if her support stopped coming here, then Rise Up would be no more. And she's so frustrated, by the way, because of her superiority complex. And she does everything to try and bring me down. And she has lost a lot of money trying to do that because of pride, thinking that I should fail so that she can say, there we go. He couldn't go anywhere without my support. The devil is a liar. God will still carry on with this assignment because he loves his people more than I ever will ever even dream of doing. And I pray that I will live with that realization on my mind daily, that I'm not the only one. I don't want to have the absurdity, the folly of Elijah, of thinking I'm the only one, because I'm not. And even our supporters, never ever imagine that you are the only one. God has people. And if you fail to do it, somebody else will step up and do it. If I fail to do that, God will raise another person. Of course, we find later on Elijah exceeding the stage and being taken up to heaven, but then God has already raised Elisha from Abel Meholah. He's a God who is organized. He is not the author of confusion. So pray with me that we will remain faithful and know that we are only but vessels, that whatever we are doing doesn't make us better than anyone else. And if we exit the stage, God has better plans. In fact, Elijah wrought 7 big miracles, but Elisha got a double portion. And Elisha's miracles are actually 14. So if Elijah thought he had done mighty works, there was coming one after him who would do double. So if I exit the stage today, somebody else will come and they will do much more than I think I've done. And so let us remain faithful, friends. God has put this in our hands. Let's carry on this assignment, knowing that we are limited. We are a limited resource. And let us put in our best with an understanding that a day is coming when we will no longer do what we are now doing with the relative ease. We will stop doing that. And then whatever we have done will be put on our shoulders, and we will carry that over, because we are told that when we die, our works follow us. So we are now gathering a bundle of things that will go with us, that will cross the river with us. So pray for faithfulness. I'm thankful that God has given us some very faithful men and women who have been wonderful. And I pray that they will remain wonderful, that they will remain understanding, and nothing will shake them to make them look back to where they have come from, or feel puffed up and think without them then we will be no more. God bless you and give you wisdom and understanding and health and wealth and life to accomplish His purpose for your great life. Bye for now.